This is a fucking war!
There are those who say it causes madness.
Horrendously awful things are happening.
I am Dracula.
A what?
The boat can leave now. Tell the crew.
Pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Polar Express elevator to hell. Going down.
Evening, Hounds of Horror. How are we all doing? We've got a really exciting one on for tonight because one, it's a movie I've never seen before, and two, it's a movie that I don't own. Which, if you know me, you know I likes to own my movies. If you also know me, you know I like horror movies. You know I like horror movies, you know I like slasher movies. You know if I like slasher movies, I like Italian horror movies that are also slasher movies, which are also effectively known in a lot of regards as giallo, which is the Italian for yellow. Comes from old pulp magazines, but to cut a long story short, these Italian giallo movies, if you don't already know, which you should, these predated the American, or the Western, well yeah, the American slashers. You know, before Halloween, this is what inspired Halloween. Before Friday the 13th, this is what inspired it. And yada, yada, yada. It's a whole bunch of movies. It's like the slasher movie, but there's a lot more emphasis on the aesthetic, the atmosphere, the energy. More times than not, there's also a murder mystery. It's kind of a little bit of a who's behind it all sort of thing. The respected godfathers of this genre being the likes of Mario Bava, Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci, which brings us on to today's movie. Because these movies had their heyday in the 70s and the 80s. Today's movie came out in 2016. What? It's called The Neon Demon. And the best I can understand of it is it's a bit of a tip to the hat love letter to these old Italian giallo movies. Most notably to Mr. Dario Argento, the man who brought us movies like Suspiria, Inferno, or if he wants to kick it old school, Inferno. I think I got Tenebrae kicking here. But the long story short about these movies is that it's all about the visuals, baby. A lot of beautiful women getting fucked up in very violent ways, but style above all else. So I don't really know what to expect going and watching this movie. I literally just found out about it this morning. I was going to buy it off Amazon, and then I seen that it was on Prime, so I thought, why not watch it first, then buy it? It's good. But yeah, I think it's going to make a lot of points. From what I've gathered, it's going to make some points about misogyny, which, you know, I don't. Have lots of beautiful women probably getting stabbed in very fantastic stylized ways, and yeah, I really don't know. I don't like to normally watch newer movies, but this one seems like it could be a thing. Plus it's also quite interesting. I'll see if I can tap on the screen there. You might even be able to see the little picture. It's not come up so good there, but I mean, in the dark. It's interesting though. I've got a bit of a this is meant to be sort of vibe about it, because apparently they're taking it off of Amazon Prime in like 9 days or something. So it's like, yo, what perfect timing to watch it. But all in all, I really don't know what to expect. I think it's going to be a very visually stimulating movie. Hopefully has some good music. The Beautiful Woman, I think's to be expected. A little bit of Christina Hendricks is in it, so she's like my celeb crush. And apparently Keanu Reeves is also in it, which is weird because I normally don't like famous people being in my horror movies, but Keanu Reeves and Christina Hendricks, given the style of what I think this movie's going to be, I'm gonna let it slide. We'll see. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go get the lights off, get me some snacks, and we're going to watch this Neon Demon. Let's see how we go. Oof. Feels good not to be crouched out in front of that telly. Now the movie. The Neon Demon. I don't even know how the fuck I'm going to talk about this. Here's how hard it's going to be to talk about this. I nearly thought I was just gonna scrap this whole video, at least until having a second viewing. But where the fuck do I start? First, not at all what I was expecting. I thought this was going to be like some sort of like slasher-esque sort of thing. Nah, one kill in the whole movie. But on the other hand, vision, style, visuals and style, yeah, it's all there. So what do I do? Okay, I'll just tell you what happens in the movie briefly, and then we'll go all the way back into it. So it's all about this chick who's just turned 16, who has no family, and she's moved to LA. She wanted to be a model because she's like really good looking, and she knows she's good looking, or something like that. And she's like, it starts off, she just got like this lad she's seeing taking photos of her and stuff, but there's this makeup artist there, and she like befriends her, and she takes her out to this club where she meets another 2 models, and it's this point I'll say like sound, vision, all of that stuff. It's like it's got that thing where it's like the use of silence. I always think when I watch a new movie, it's like silence. Like why is there not any silence? Movies used to have silence, and it kind of now it's like there always needs to be something in the background, even if it's just like a bird chirping away or something. But yeah, it's use of mirrors and lighting. It's all on point. It's all very Argento. But it becomes apparent within this night out that main chick isn't really like, you know, like one's not like the other. She's not like the other sort of thing. So it does kind of that good thing where it's like it creates uncomfortableness. You feel uncomfortable watching it. Uncomfortable conversation exchanges and stuff, which I think sometimes some of the more subtle things that horror movies are missing. But this isn't like a woo horror movie. This is more like a, by title extent, horrific movie. And by horrific, I mean it's a weird movie where seemingly nothing happens, and then in the end a bunch of really horrific shit happens. But yeah, nah. Chick ends up getting like modelling work from this like big fancy asshole who's like, looks are everything, it's the only currency we have, and you know, you can tell the difference between someone who's bought their beauty and someone who's born with their beauty. And they keep rolling with this main chick having the it factor, which is a thing in life, you know. But yeah, not a whole bunch of much happens though. Yeah, I mean, above all else, what's really apparent about this is that the models don't like the main chick because she's young and she's new. But the makeup artist, it's definitely a part. At least I was like, she wants to fuck her. But as it happens, she also stays at this motel sort of place where Keanu Reeves is the manager, and he's an asshole. Honestly, probably didn't need Keanu Reeves to be in there. They probably just got him to put a name on the thing, because if anything, it's just distracting. It's like, that's my main reasoning for saying why I don't like celebrities in these types of movies, because instead of watching it going, oh, this shady character, I'm like, Keanu Reeves, come on, you know better than this. You thought you were meant to be the chosen one, dude. But yeah, nah. So, longest story short, Neo is a creepy bastard. I don't know. The chick hears him rape someone through the wall, so she ends up calling the makeup artist and goes to stay at her house. She's staying at this big massive house, but it's not like actually her house, she's just renting it. And as it happens, the makeup artist tries to make a move at our protagonist, who not only lets us know that she's a virgin, but also lets us know that she's not wanting to have some lesbian sex. So I thought I was going to, not only did I have to listen to a rape scene, I never like rape scenes. And the whole like first part of this movie, I'm like, this cunt's going to rape this person. She's going to get raped here. And it didn't happen, but I was like, But I did think I was going to see my first lesbian rape scene, which was, I didn't want to see it, but at the same time I was all like, that's different. Doesn't happen. Probably because she could fend herself. But anyway, so it's at this point I'll throw out a scene where I'll say that this makeup artist is also like in the evening, she's like makeup artist at a morgue. Like she makes up the dead bodies and give it points for disturbing. This is basically, she's been rejected from her main character, so she goes to her work and there's a character, a body that looks not too unlike the main character, and she done fools around with a corpse, like she locks the door and shit, and you're watching like, she gonna fuck that corpse? No, that's it. The first time you watch it, you think she's left, and then it cuts back to the cadaver, and you see her walk on the screen, and you're like, she's not gonna fuck that corpse, is she? Because we've seen that scene a whole bunch of times, the whole bunch of movies, you know, creepy morticianary guy likes to touch the boobies of the corpses and stuff, but this was a chick did it, so yay, progression. But aye, that happens, and then it cuts back to the mansion. There's this the main chick sitting there, she's got herself all dolled up and she's standing on a diving board. I thought she was contemplating suicide, and like the makeup artist is sitting down here, and main chick just kind of gives this kind of arsey speech about like, weird arsey speech, like, my mum always said I was dangerous, do you know, like, people like look like me that have it all, like, you know, every girl would claw and scratch just to be a second-rate version of you, and you're a bit like, okay, you're a cunt. Yeah, so she then goes inside, and like, basically this is the best part of the movie, although it comes completely the fuck out of nowhere. The two models and the makeup artists are all there, and they're basically going to kill her mains, and they're chasing her around this big house, and it's so giallo, like, it's like the main pulls out a blade and it's like the lighting's all red, and then like the one of the model chicks, she pulls out another blade and the lighting's all blue, and you can see the silhouettes of the blade, and visually it is a treat. And the only problem is it doesn't last as long as it should. But she's running around, she's closing doors, but there's three of them and they're like a pack of wolves. Pay attention to that. But they're like a pack of wolves, and like one of them, this was my favourite bit, honestly. One of them slits at like the back of her legs, and she's got him back outside. And if you imagine this in a run shot, because there's always the thing, it's like the damsel getting chased by the serial killer, so I was like, I can't walk, it stumbled over nothing, and it's like, you know, and then it's like it's got Mike Myers or Jason like walking dead slow but somehow catching up. So in this case it's got her like limping because she's had the back of her legs cut out, whilst the other model's kind of just like power walking behind her. All shot in like that like blue aesthetic sort of thing, and she's walking along, and then there's the other model standing with the blade. So now it's like two models, her sitting there by the pool's empty, I should say, and then here comes her makeup, so it's like a triangle. There's been a running imagery of triangles in this movie, and she done pushes her, and she done breaks her, falls in the pool and breaks her legs, and then it's like they then walk along the side and you're like, oh, is that over? But then it cuts to her in the pool, you can see still kind of twitching, you just see them three blurrily like walking towards her. It's at this point where it then just cuts to like the makeup artist lady in a bath covered in blood. The bath's covered in blood, and she's just like kind of like cocking her eyes open, and she's looking out into a shower. And it's once again, it's got all that kind of ready neon lightage and shit, and it's got the two models, and they're covered in blood, but they're showering each other, and it's weirdly sexy, but at the same time it's also like, man, they must have really fucked that bitch up. It then kind of just cuts to the model chick, hosing down the area the next day, and like you see her like hosing up some blood, and it's not until the camera changes you realise that she's got a top off, she's got her titties out, but like it then like cuts to her like outside in nature or some shit, like kind of over what kind of looks like a slightly dug grave, I'm not so sure, and then it cuts to a scene of her in an empty house where it's like she has a piss, but it's like blood. Me too, but let's see where we go. Then cuts to the other two models driving a sports car, and they go to this photo shoot where it's only the one of the two models that's in the photo shoot with some other chick, and then there's like this really telling line where it's like she says something, the one that's not there, like she's like sitting there, she like sniggers, she goes, is there something funny about that? And she goes, she doesn't really respond, she goes like, have you ever had like been passed up for a job for someone else? And she's like, yeah. She's like, what did you do? She goes, I ate that bitch. And it doesn't really dive too much more into that, but then that's at the point where you as a viewer sit there going, yo, did they eat her? Did they eat remains? And then it's like the model that's not, like, because there's another model there, she's not part of the main gang, if you would, but the photographer guy's like, he basically sees her, fires the other chick, and gets her on to do the shoot, and they're sitting there like pure model posing and all that, like, and that's at the point where it's getting a bit hard, I should have let their names, but basically one of the model chicks starts going and like she fucking runs back, and then the other one like comes through, but like very doesn't even give like a fuck, and like she's sitting there, it's like, I need her out of me, I can't have her inside me, and like she sits there and she fucking spews up the chick's eyeball, and like the other one's just like total poker faces it. She goes, I need her out of me. She grabs a set of scissors and basically harakiris herself and bloods all over her. I shit you not, this model's like response, it's like her friend's just like done all that. She just goes like, let's see if I can do it. She goes, you know, she's just like one little pick with her wee lip. I shit you not, she goes down, she picks up the eyeball, she eats it, she puts her sunnies back on, and then she walks back out, and that's the end of the movie. Honestly, when I watched it, I was like, because I've given you, if anything, the highlights of the good, but this is a 2-hour movie. There's a whole lot of nothing happening in this movie, or at least seemingly not happening in this movie. I was like, man, how the fuck am I going to talk about this? I don't even think I liked this, other than like that murder scene, and arguably the ending. Visually, it was cool, but like you say, like I like these giallo movies not just because of the visuals, much like I don't like a slasher movie just because of the kills. Like, you know, it needs to be a whole bunch of things happening, and this just kind of seemed to be a whole like which is not cool for me as a person trying to make it go on YouTube to say, but I was like, just me as a person watching the movie, I was like, well, there needs to be more to this. So I started looking at the old movies explained, endings explained. Got a whole bunch of whole different things, and it seems to be kind of one of those movies. It's like interpret it as you can and pick bits out, but I also think that it will be a movie that maybe if I do watch it again, I'll probably like a lot more, which it's a bit of a running theme with me in movies, you know. Greats like Blade Runner, The Shining, you know, first times I watched them, even Italian horror movies like Tenebrae, first time I watched that, it's like, I was sitting there, it's like, granted there was 10 years apart from first view to second view, where I was like, this sucks. Then 10 years later I watched it, like, oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever. But yeah, with this one, because I knew how to make a video as well. And I thought this was pretty cool, and once again harkening back to Argento, because like you say, other than the visuals, I couldn't help but notice, because they're all models, there's a lot of emphasis on camera shots and the cameras, which is kind of Tenebrae-esque, but so basically, like I said, there's a lot of imagery with these triangles, or triangles within triangle, or a triangle with a triangle inside it and stuff. And the best theory or explanation I've had for this movie is that the makeup artist and the two models is witches. Is witches, and the thing with this main character, this 16-year-old main, is it's like a Calvinistic ritual, and it's like they've got to get her to go through these phases and steps, so that they can then eventually kill her and harvest her insides, and that's what keeps their modelly youth. And like the person theorized that like the makeup artist, that like she could have been doing this for hundreds of years, like that's what the piss and blood thing's all about, because it's like that's her pissing out her old essence and now she's got the new essence. And it's even like that end scene where the model who was just to watch her friend, like the director guy like fired that younger chick, and let her in. It's almost like her youthfulness is like keeping her going in, like, you know, it's working. And that the theory is that the witch, I can now say, the witch that ended up saying I want her out of me, that spewed up the eyeball and killed herself, like that this was her first coven, or her first time doing this ritual, and she just wasn't hacking with it. Something as well about the purity, because the girl's a virgin, might have been too much to, like, her evil corrupted insides rejected it, sort of thing. Whereas like the other model, she was like, what was it? You know what I mean? She's done this before. So it's with that I think maybe a second viewing would make it better. And the whole thing about the triangles is meant to be like that, because it's like a triangle with a triangle inside it. It's meant to be like each of the outer triangles are meant to symbolise them three, like circling in on this mains and stuff. And mind how I said earlier about the thing about the pack of wolves and stuff, like there's a lot of animalistic symbolism sort of thing, like, you know, there's a lot of stuffed animals and backgrounds and stuff. There's a random scene I should have mentioned earlier where main chick thinks that someone's broken into her motel room, and it turns out to be a fucking puma. But the theory is that's actually one of the witches ensuring that this coven's going as planned, to make her do what she's supposed to do. Because like you say, she does start off quite innocent, this mains, but by the end of it she's a bit like smelling her own farts a little bit. So the thing that I will say that was probably one of the major things that kind of killed this movie for me, though, was the main character, the main chick. I really didn't like her. Like, I didn't like her when she was meant to be made innocent. She seemed quite stuck up. I didn't like her towards the end. She seemed even more stuck up. Now, I'm the first person to say that when it comes to horror-esque related movies, it doesn't really matter if you like the characters or not, because they're all going to die in the end. But the fact that I needed to spend like an hour and 40 minutes with this chick, you know, like, surely something, because it's not uncommon, once again, going into giallo, you know what I mean? Like Jennifer Connelly's character in Phenomena, like, I liked her because she was, once again, you spend the most of this movie with her, whereas like with this chick, it's just like, I don't like you. And I kind of like most of every other character to a certain degree, but I only see them here or there, but I see all of you. So it was kind of like, once again, a classic, like when the witches, or when these chicks, when they killed her and ate her, I was kind of like, yeah, go bitches. Almost like part of the corruption to make her get to where they need to be so that they can then consume her. But yeah, I mean, like, between the fact that it's got like the whole outsider getting into something that's almost girly exclusive, kind of harkens back to Suspiria a little bit. The fact that the witches is like Suspiria Inferno style, like I can see the Argento nod sort of thing. And well, like I say, that whole thing about the witches and everything, that's pretty fucking cool. The only problem is I didn't pick up on any of that, you know? So it's like, does that make it a good movie or a bad movie? I don't know. Once again, I'll need to rewatch it and see if it's better a second time around. I hope it will be. Maybe it's going to be one of those ones that, you know, like sometimes you watch something, man, that sucks, and it just fucking festers in your head until you're like, I need to watch that again. But yeah, is it a good movie? I don't know. Was the music good? When it was good, it was great. Then there was also a lot of yeah. Was it giallo? I don't know. Most people struggle to define what a giallo is. I tried earlier, and if this movie's giallo, then what I described is nothing like it. But yeah, the director, fuck, Nicholas Wilden Ramph or something. That's not how you say his name. But it seems to be that like his gimmick's very much like violence, sex sort of stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I'll check out some more of his movies. Maybe we'll check out some more of his movies and see how it goes. Like I say, very much, he's definitely got an artistic take, but there was a lot of me sitting there going, like, it's just artsy fartsiness for the sake of artsy fartsiness. So yeah, I don't know. Can I say go out and watch this? Well, if what I said sounds interesting, then yeah. If what I said sounds like a lot of tripe, then no. All in all, the main bit of props I'll give it, or this director or this movie, is the fact that I feel most movies that come out these days are just like so the same, so by the numbers, and this movie above all else wasn't that. Except for when it was. But then there's there alternative motives behind all that? I don't know. Either way, I just watched The Neon Demon, and maybe you will too. We'll see how we go next episode. We'll go watch something easier like fucking Friday the 13th. Peace out. Christina Hendricks was in the movie for like 2 minutes as an agency worker, which kind of like Keanu Reeves, I was like, man, why'd you even bother? But at the same time, it's Christina Hendricks, I was like, my baby.